appreciate that you're no longer in government, but do you think you could comment on Donald Trump's recognising of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel in 2017? Do you think, was it unexpected? Did it come as a surprise? And could you gauge its impact it might have as a source of stability and act of provocation, or is it negative? What's your opinion on that?
Can we speak inside the closed room, or do we have it in the papers tomorrow? If we don't, I'd say this. What was a big surprise to me is the election of President Trump. I worked with American administrations for over 20-25 years. I knew most people up under Carter and Reagan and Clinton and Obama and Bush and everybody. I have no clue how this president works. I don't know what he thinks. I don't understand exactly what he says. I mean, I understand the words. I don't know where he comes from ideologically. He's not a conservative evangelist. I knew what they are. He's somebody who used very effectively the negative, the anger approach to the elites, to the Washington that he will drive a swamp of and so forth. And it was amazingly enough to get elected. Chapter 1 of what he wanted to get rid of the existing elite was clear. But there's no chapter 2. What do you do now? I don't understand. He said things that are very pro-Israeli sometimes. Where does it come from? Is it his belief? Is it the evangelist movement, his main support group that wants to support Israel because we are fighting almost the Armageddon war against the Muslims? In the end, they will all support us, and then we'll have to convert because the whole thing is somewhat crazy. I don't know. I can't understand. So I really can't read. I don't know what he has in mind. I don't know what he will do. I must say that as a person who pertains to the free world and believes in the ideas and values of the free world, all of us about that, to think that our free world is led now by President Trump is, I don't want to understand this. I don't know. I really don't understand. He may do great things or bad things. I don't know what he will do. Jerusalem. There is a something quite strange here. If you wanted to play down, not to play up, what he did, look at what he said. He didn't say, he said they recognized that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, which by the way he did. All the presidents and the prime ministers and ministers who come to Jerusalem from this country, from Arab country, come to Jerusalem. Our Knesset, Parliament sits in Jerusalem, the Supreme Court sits in Jerusalem, the government in Jerusalem, the president. This is a fact of life. He didn't say the United Jerusalem, all of Jerusalem, which borders of Jerusalem. He did say that he accepts that we have the sovereign right to the old city, the Wailing Wall that the continent sits in. He did say that. He left it open. So what's the big story? He didn't say he wanted to call Jerusalem to be the capital of Palestine as well. He didn't say even that. There's something that's quite obvious. But some Israeli politicians want to show that they gained a huge gain, made of it a big story. And the Arabs made a big story of the opposite. So they made a huge crisis, something that is, to me, is quite, I wouldn't say non-story, not a big story. The issue of Jerusalem is one of the contentious issues still left to be negotiated. I'm not playing this down. And as I said, I would not have offered what other Israeli communists have offered, like Barak Moment. But the fact that even the offer to divide Jerusalem, so that the Jewish part will be Israel and the Muslim part will be Arab, did not solve the problem. Because to me, in my reading, the problem was what people sometimes don't remember. The PLO, the Arab Palestinian National Movement, was not established after 1967, after the occupied territory. It was established before this, to deal with 48, with the very existence of Israel. And the main slogan or belief or ideology was what they called the right of return. That Palestinians, whose parents or grandparents were in what became Israel and ran away from it or were expelled or whatever left, will return to Israel. So once they have a state, which is a huge dramatic change in history, they will still have a right to go to Israel. This is something that undercuts the whole logic of division. I would say I don't want to go emotionally into that, but when I tell you that I feel this is my country, I don't invent anything. The Bible was written there, our prophets were there, our kings were there. This is history. But I accept that they think the same thing about the land. I don't want to say I have a monopoly. So you either build a binational state in the whole country, which everybody understands will not work. The fear, the hatred, the necessity will not work. Or you divide it. When we divide it, it means that no Palestinians will stay in exile. But they will not be in the same house they were. They will be not in Tel Aviv, but in Ramallah. They can do that if they want. And we will give up in the name of the Jews the right to return to the land of their parents, their forefathers, only they will be allowed to go to the part that is Israel. This is the logic. If after you have a two-state solution, which is very painful to both sides, again, I try to be as objective as I try to be, you need to say that's the end of the story. You don't continue to have other claims after that. And this is something that they have to come to the maturity, ideologically, emotionally, to say, yes, we cannot reach all of it, we'll do with the partition of Palestine that way. By the way, if there are two states, which I hope we will have in the end, then I think that we can think of close cooperation, Benelux, even confederation, because it's totally illogical to build such small states. And Israel, Jordan, and the Palestinian state, if it comes to be, can create something more confederate and even more than that. But it takes time to do that. I think this is logical. So it's only total dissociating yourself or for them from us. But without this, to continue as they were, I think it's dangerous. So Jerusalem is a problem, it's not the main problem. It is a problem, not the main one. I don't know what Trump will do. Will he move the embassy or just say it? I don't know. I think the embassy should have been in Jerusalem. And I think it's wrong that it's not. So I'm not against what he said. But this is not the main stumbling block for the lack of negotiation, the absence. Because they didn't come before this as well. So here's the context in which I want to put this. Yeah. Yeah.
Francis Bradel Dawson at St. Chad's College. We recently saw an Israeli fighter jet shot down in Syria when it was attacking Iranian sites. No doubt we can agree that hostilities with Iran are quite tense at the moment. Under the Obama administration, we saw an attempt at making a peace deal concerning nuclear disarmament, but the new president has called that the worst deal ever made. If you say, like you were saying in your speech, that the Americans are not what they used to be in the Middle East, then who are going to be the main players concerning a diplomatic agreement with Iran in the future? And is a possible diplomatic solution, is it possible if you were saying religion kind of that prevents that from happening?
I don't have a clear answer. I can give you my guess, I hope not unintelligent guess, but it may not be what we'll see unfolding, because things are changing quite rapidly. I hope that reality forced America to go back into the Middle East. Not because of us. We can survive and we do it quite well. We never wanted American soldiers on our soil. No American soldier ever fought for us. Unlike, by the way, Britain or Europe, we're not part of NATO. We fight for ourselves with support of others and so forth. We can survive, but I think they will have to step in and help many of their other allies. And I think the attempt to say it's not our business anymore will not work. It will hurt America, not because I want it, but I think this is reality. I don't want to go into that. So I wouldn't rule out America as the main broker. The masses in many Arab countries love to curse America and use all sorts of debt to America. All the rulers want America as their friend. Russia cannot give them what America can give them in terms of economy and science and whatnot. Russia can help them militarily. So I hope that America will come to the senses, will rethink. And there is a chance that it will happen. As I said, Russia comes in and steps in and is a broker. Russia, under the Soviet Union, didn't have any relationship with us until the collapse of the Soviet Union and their regime. And they were enemies for us. They helped all our enemies in supporting them, supplying them with weapons and political support. Now Russia is playing a more even-handed, not even-handed, I would say, but realistic approach. They are not our enemies. They are the enemies of the Arabs. They will do what is good for Russia. They will not shed tears if we lose a battle. They will not rejoice if we don't. It's not the emotional thing. Mr. Putin, with his background, I don't want to say, you know what he is. He's a very realistic person, and some may say cynical. And I think that they may be playing a role. I don't know. I think we should act with them as well, and with the Americans. The fact that Iran becomes a major power in the Middle East, if I'm right in my analysis, and unless there's a revolution there in Iran, which also may happen. I didn't see the first revolution coming, so I may not see the next one. I hope, but I'm not sure. It's 40 years already, so who knows? Iran thinks long range. I would say the following: Iran says that they don't accept us at all, but under the previous ruler, Khomeini, the revolutionary, the one that created this Islamic revolution, they had a secret deal with Israel, now known, called Iran-Contras affair, when they bought missiles from Israel in the 80s. The Americans were very angry that there was an investigation in America. So they, in the end, may be realistic. They fought a war with Iraq for 8 years, Iran and Iraq, 88. I think hundreds of thousands of Iranians and Iraqis were killed by each other. Until Iran didn't say give up and stop the war, because in the end they were realistic. So I think that there may be a way to, I hope, and I don't know, there's no secret I hold in my pocket, that there is, that logic may reign, and one needs to see if one can get to understand where there are areas of common interest, like, all right, you want Syria, we don't want you to make Syria part of a military base to Iran, but we already did, you do certain things in Syria. Or this is the line that you will, and maybe, is there something in Hezbollah that will happen tomorrow? Will there be a war? Are there limits to this war? Do we decide not to attack civilian targets? There are things that may be discussed. I don't have anything that I know actually. I would have tried, if I were there, to try to find secretly if there's a way to get an agreement. But what you described, maybe rightly, is that you have the children fighting and the parents are not there. No responsible adults. If there's no superpower, so to speak, to try to put the playground in order and say, hey, the guys don't continue. I hope there will be those players, but I can't say I'm sure. And I think these things change all the time. And I think that we need to look at it and explain what we do and try to think long range, not just short range. Just to mention the first thing, yes, we are trying to stop the Iranians from making of Syria an Iranian base. And sometimes we take military action according to the press. Again, I'm not in the government now 4 years, so I shouldn't say more. I don't know. I know more than I say that. Shouldn't say more. There are Israeli attacks on targets in Syria from time to time, pinpointed to try to get the attempt to build an arsenal or factory for precision-guided weapons, which is a totally different game. And usually we do it without any casualty. We do it well. This time there was a probably mistake by the pilot, and one of our planes was shot by the Syrian defense system, an old missile that shouldn't have been able to hit. And they say in the Israeli press that there was a mistake by the pilot. It may happen. So after 30, I think 80 or 30 something years, an Israeli plane fell. Thankfully, the pilots are saved and they land in Israel. It happens. It's not happy day. It's a bad day. It creates a wrong impression, but we are still there. I'm not afraid of their ability in the Air Force. And as I said, the Air Force is important. The military is important. It's not enough. You need diplomacy and you need to try to find a way of creating a modus vivendi, a coexistence with the other powers, including Israel and Iran.
Yes, Constantine. You talked about the change of powers within the Arab world, the Arab Spring, and the forms of new coalitions that include Arab countries and Israel at the same time. And we talked a lot about the chance of diplomacy to work away with the Palestinians as well. Would you say that these new coalitions forming in the States, I think Saudi Arabia is involved in that as well, to bring peace to the area? Would you say that opens up peace idea, or is that
I want to define peace. Great word, great idea. There haven't ever been a peace treaty between Germany and Russia after the Second World War. You know that the Russians and Germans never signed a peace treaty. And there was peace without a peace treaty. Israel and some Arab countries never signed a peace treaty, but there's not happening. There's even commerce and trade and intelligence cooperation under the table. Full formal peace, which is the best that we can have, it legitimizes everything, is what we have formally with Egypt and Jordan. Major partners. With others, it seems more difficult. Unfortunately, the Arab rulers in most countries are threatened by the extremists, religious fanatics, for whom being seen in public with the Jews is very dangerous. I put it sort of in a simplistic way. And for many of them, cooperation is important, but public cooperation is less welcome and dangerous. And they would rather have the cooperation without admitting it, not to give rise or cause to those who want to behead them or something of that sort. If there is something of that sort, beheading. So it's more difficult. Still, my thinking, and again, it's not something I can prove, is that if we came to one or two or three of these countries and say, we want you to do this and that in promotion of the openness that we don't have, what we need to give in return is, I think, something in the Palestinian-Israeli story. If I were, as I said, the government, if my plan that I just explained here in basic terms would have been accepted, I would do it in a way after privately speaking, say with the Saudis. If I want the Saudis to say, open an interest office in Tel Aviv or something of that sort, tell them, we'll do this for you. Publicly, you ask us this, we do this thing for you and the Palestinians, which will give them maybe an excuse or a way to say why they give something in return, and so forth. There are ways that you can make facilitate for the Arabs the risk that they take in openly having relations with us. After all, Sadat was murdered. And it's not easy. It becomes easier because everybody knows now that Saudis and Israelis meet, and the Kuwaitis and Israelis meet, and Bahrainis and Dubai and Moroccans and Algeria. They know that things are going in. You can't hide it. So I believe that time is important here. We need to be patient and not to pressure too much. I'd love to have peace treaty with everybody. We need to be ready for that. But is it highly probability? I cannot. I wouldn't ask you. I would not invite you to bet the money you have, whether it's a lot or not. I don't know on this becoming a reality in the coming week or so. Things may happen, and you may say this Meridor was quite stupid. He didn't know. I don't know. But hopefully it will happen, but it takes time. I don't think it's going to become reality overnight. Because it's giving up on the dream that in the end, Palestine, all of it, should be Muslim and Arab, and no Israel. This will not happen. We are strong enough to prevent it, and we have experience enough not to become as weak as the need for it. So I think reality, realpolitik in German terms, from Metternich or Bismarck will have their day, and I hope that more and more will come to full formal peace.
Alana Travis, College. Thank you for your address. Another reference to Trump. He's been quoted in the Telegraph today as saying that the building of legal settlements is complicating the process for peace. How can you justify the building of settlements in Palestine and hasn't building work got to start?
Well, there are two different angles to this. One is the issue of justice, if you like, or the rights, and the other is wisdom. I think it's not wise, in the Israeli perspective, to continue building settlements in the large part of Judea and Samaria that will hopefully become Palestinian state. It runs against it, and it undercuts the Israeli policy of saying we are ready to go Palestinian state if you continue to build for Jews or allow Jews to settle. So on the expediency level or the logical policy level, I'm against it. On the issue of rights, I think there is every right. It can't be that the only place in the earth the Jews cannot settle is this part of the world. Why can't the Arabs accept the Jews will live there as a minority? Why can't we have Arabs in Israel and they're a minority, fully equal citizens? It's all right. Why can't we have Jews living there as a minority? Why is it contagious? What will happen? In London, Jews can live even there, but they can't live in Bethlehem or Hebron if you don't steal for anybody. But to build a house, why is it you can live there only if you're not Jewish? This is crazy. And as there is a real attachment, and I'm telling you again, you heard what I say, and I'm maybe out of government because I'm too dovish from some people maybe, but I sincerely feel that when I'm in this part of the land, it's my land. To say I cannot live there, I don't want to live there, because I want to live in a Jewish democratic country, and I can't have all the land and stay Jewish and democratic. So that's why I'm ready to partition. But on the basis, if a Jewish guy says I'm ready to live in Hebron, which is the city of our forefathers and so forth, And I'm ready that if there is a Palestinian state, I'll be part of Palestine. I would let them do that. Only most settlers don't do that. They may want to live there and still rule it, although they are the minority. This is not legitimate. So I'm not against settlements on the basis of right. There's no way why they cannot live there. By the way, there was no Palestine. There was no state of Palestine ever. It was occupied by Jordan. There, in history, there's never been Palestinian people. Now there is one. It's not my business. And I'm not even telling them to be Palestinian, to be Arab, to be Jordanian. I don't want to rule it because I will stop being democratic and Jewish. And this is what I don't want to do. But basically, there was a land that the two parties have a claim to, real claim. And why is it that only one side can settle, not the other? So on the right basis, I have no problem with it. I think it runs against our interest because it will end up in one state, and the one state cannot be fully democratic and Jewish at the same time, which is why I'm against it. So I put the two different levels. Don't think it's a problem of justice, the problem of wisdom, and looking ahead where we are going, where we are sailing with the ship. Are we going to meet the iceberg, or do we continue to sail like this when everything looks nice? I'm afraid if we don't divert the ship, we'll meet the iceberg, and I don't want to do that. So I want to change, to block the road to one state by creating, in fact, a sort of borderline, although it's not final, and to leave open the road to two states, even if they don't want it now. To merge all of it to one thing is against our interest. This is why I'm against continuing settling activity, unless it's in the limited areas that are the blocks of settlement, which is going to be part of Israel anyway, very close to the former Israeli line with Jordan. Before there was no Palestine, then it was Jordan and Israel. So this is my answer to you. Yes, please.
Roger Shore Davis and Capital Society. So globally, Israel unfortunately has been increasingly getting bad press. I mean, we've seen, for example, extremist groups in London who've been protesting Israeli, for example, Israeli officials. We've seen increasing outcries from people like, for example, the radical British left, who have increasingly been very critical of Israel. What do you think Israel should do to combat these horrendous sort of outcries against a country which, quite frankly, has a very legitimate claim to its land and a very legitimate claim to be a country?
Well, first of all, I think that I care about it. Some Israelis say, who cares about Europe? They are all gone, who cares about them? I don't say this. As I earlier said, I think we are culturally, historically part of Europe. Our values, our way of life, it's all European in a way. We stem from there, so I do care about Europe. I don't give away, who cares? I do care. Now about the protest against Israel. There is a part of it which is totally extreme anti-Semitic and nothing will happen. There always has been anti-Semitism in Europe, in awful ways and in minor ways, all along the years in many countries. And there are a cause, or there are nuclei of anti-Semitism in many European countries, on usually the extreme right. The extreme left, you may have the same thing, people say Israel was a mistake, Jews should go back to where their grandparents were in Poland or in Russia, in Germany, crazy thing as well. So these people, I have no answer and I cannot convince them. But there may be very many people in the middle who may be attracted by the arguments, and I think we should not give up on them. The one thing I want to say, and it has to do, part of it is with the reality. Are we right? We should ask ourselves, what we do is right or wrong. If it's wrong, don't do it. Not because of Europe, because it's wrong. If it's right, do it in spite of Europe. But I'm not explaining and saying there's one thing that is to me really not legitimate. You know, I can criticize, or you can criticize America for having Guantanamo. It's really horrendous. You take a part of the world, there's no law, nobody controls it. This is crazy. And many decent people attack America, but you don't say America shouldn't exist because of it. I can criticize Britain for what they've done in Northern Ireland, maybe. I don't want to go into that. And many people do that. But you don't say, if that's the case, Britain should be dissolved, and I don't know what happened to it. Going back to the Normans and William the Conqueror. But what do you do with that? No, there is Britain. There is criticism on Israel. Part of it may be justified, part of it not. But don't make the argument, if that's the case, if Israel is wrong on this and that, Israel should not exist. This is something that's unique to the Israeli case. We have a war situation up and down for many years. You know, other countries like this country fought wars from time to time, but usually there's peacetime. In times of war, things happen in Britain or in America that are not proud of. Like detaining all the people who had German passports, including many Jews in times of war, or detaining all the Japanese in America. So there are times in times of war, some nations do things that are wrong. I think we try to contend with the fact that we have to fight almost daily sometimes and still maintain a high level of democracy, including controlling the army. I was the Minister of Justice and I was accused of many of my friends that I do try to keep a high standard of behavior by indicting officers and people for doing wrong things in times of war. It's not easy, in times of war to tell people, hey, there are limits. He wants to fight, he fights for you. And you say, yeah, but there are things you don't do. This is the idea that there's a law of war. It's not naturally acceptable to people. I need to think it. Don't come to tell me, don't do this, don't bomb citizens, as Britain did in Germany or Germans in other places. Don't do that. So the need to find a way that we fight the war in a legal way, in high norms, is a challenge. I think we cope with it quite well. Not always. Sometimes I have myself criticism, but we have a very strong legal system, independent. While I'm talking to you, an hour ago there was a statement by the police that they recommended the Prime Minister is indicted for 2 counts of bribe of all things. I don't know many countries who do that. Another Prime Minister, Olmert, was just released from jail for a bribe. So we have a very independent system that deals with the army as well. And in times of war or terror, it's a new kind of game. It's not the war of countries or armies against armies. There are people who say we're not soldiers. What are they? Criminals? No. They are fighters. Can you kill them? Do you need to bring them to court? It's a question that the whole world deals with, the new kind of war that you see. I think we are a good laboratory of trying to do that. And I don't think we are doing, I think we are doing better. I don't want to boast than most countries, including Western countries. So I'm quite proud. When I was in London yesterday and I gave a speech or a talk like this at the King's College, not Durham, but still King's College, which is not that bad, there were demonstrations by Palestinians outside the room, called me a war criminal and shame and all sorts of other things. Okay, I can cope with that. Those people who call me a war criminal, not because it's me personally, I can't argue with that. All right, let them shout, free country, free speech, free shout, whatever. But those people who say, hey, maybe they have something, I need to talk to them. I need to explain it. And it's not easy, but don't give up. When you are weak, when you are the underdog, people sympathize with you. When you are strong, usually people are against you. This sometimes creates the illusion that we saw, by the way, I ended with this. We had struggles with Hezbollah and with Hamas in Lebanon and Gaza. Three such battles or struggles in Gaza. When it all began, against our will, they rocketed us. The whole world wanted us to kill them and finish it off. And the Arabs spoke to us, do this, finish this Hamas thing off. And it was genuine. We tried to do, I don't want to defend us the best we can, because we are that much stronger, and everything is on TV today, or in the set network. If they see you being strong, and the other being weak for too many days, the strong becomes a villain, and the underdog becomes the pious, righteous guy. Although that's not the case. Sometimes he started the war, but you cannot look too strong too long a time. It's a problem with the strong guys. Now, if I'm very weak, I saw what happened to Jews who were too weak, so I don't want to be there again. Being strong exacts the price of me. How do you do it? Be strong and be right and look right is a big challenge, and I think we need to cope with it.
University College, what did you think of the recent protests in Iran?
Well, I remember the protests in 2009. After the election, there were huge protests, much bigger than these ones. And many hopeful people, including myself, hoped that something will happen and the regime will change. I remember this poor girl called Nada who was shot in the head. Everybody saw the blood spilled in the head in the street. They used brute force to quash it and to end it, and they succeeded. What will happen to that? I don't know. Iran, as I said earlier, has a tradition of a very advanced society. At least part or half the society is inclined toward the West. There's no hatred to America and the people. There may be hatred in the mullahs, in the regime, but not. And I hope that one day they will awake from this, let's say, fanatic regime that they they have in the government in Iran. You know, when the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917 took place, and they, killed the emperor, cousin of King George V, who asked for refuge and was not denied it. It's a different British-Russian story. But after the revolution succeeded and communism came into power, people said this is so much against human nature, it cannot persist. It will collapse. They were right, it only took about 70 years. But Iran, I can say the same thing. It's not natural for a nation that is very advanced and tasted the West and was part of it to accept it. So I hope and believe that one day it will change and go back to the normal life that they had. Will it be tomorrow? Will it be in a week or a decade or two? I don't know. I cannot base my policy, my decision making on the assumption that it's going to be tomorrow. I wish it will. I hope it will. If I can help it, I will do it. I don't think I can, not I personally, as a state or as Western. But I don't know. We've seen things in the world that we haven't seen in advance. And it's quite devastating to know that we have so much investment in intelligence, Israeli, American, British, whatever. And the main developments are surprising to all of us, including the Iranian Revolution, and the Arab Spring, including the collapse of the Soviet Union. So I don't know, I cannot tell you. I think we need to learn humility from the fact that we haven't known what would happen the day before it did. I hope it will happen. The open world, the fact that we have networks and people know what happens all over the world, makes it more likely that it will happen. But I can't tell you that. I don't know. Yes, please.
About College. What do you think about Israel's recent decision to ask African refugees to leave the country, considering Israel's a country built by refugees?
Well, we had in the about 10 years ago, 8 years ago, a flood of people because we were the only country that had a terrestrial connection with Africa. You want to move to Israel? Israel is bordering on Africa, and there is no border in fact. Israel-Egypt has a very good relationship. There was no physical border, no barrier. So people came in big numbers, thousands a day sometimes. They went through the desert, and they were used by the Bedouins, sometimes raped by them, robbed by them, killed by them, awful things. But it was so devastating in Africa, and so dangerous. Israel was so promising, so we were flooded by many of them. And it created a huge problem. It was huge numbers. And then the government, I was part of that, but I need to give credit to Netanyahu, who is not my favorite now, but he decided one thing that I think was right, to build a physical barrier, that they can't come like this. And we built a fence along the Israeli-Egyptian border, and there is nobody infiltrating anymore. It's totally okay now. There are people who come on the plane, like tourists from Turkey, from Ukraine, and then they stay. This is something every country has, and we need to deal with that in different ways. But now that we have done this, and we stopped the immigration in a very threatening way, the fact is that we had several tens of thousands of people from Africa who did that. My view was, and it's unfortunately not accepted by the government, if you can really willfully ask these people, give them money, and they'll find another way to do it. But if they don't want, accept them in Israel. Not only because of what you said, I'd say something about it being a nation of refugees for so much time in history, but because of, if you have 8.5 million Israelis, about 2 million Arabs and 6.5 million Jews, or something of that sort, you have another 30, 40,000 Africans, so big. Well, what's the big story? If it was still threatening to come in big numbers, and they would see that Israel is a great paradise, and the more we come, then I would understand that you don't know, but you will stop it. We were able to stop it. So treat them. Now, the thing is that people say don't employ them because they're not legally there, so you send them to the crime world because they need to steal, to live. So you create a process that is very devastating. Now I'm saying that, as you said rightly, first of all, the world is now more flexible and more people are moving easier. Borders are not what they used to be. People don't look at Europe, look what happens in Europe and America, Mexico, all things. It's not stable borders and states that people are born and die with. This is part of the world. So you can't keep it all what you want. People will come in some numbers. Second, I think that, as you said rightly, having been wandering in the world for centuries as Jews, from one place to another, sometimes because we were really on the verge of being killed, sometimes because we looked for better life in in America, in Britain, so others. Jews did move from time to time. So I think it's quite mandatory, obligatory on us to treat people in a more human and merciful way and try to absorb them into society. This is what I would do. I admit that in most countries, the rhetoric against the other, against the refugee, against the not refugee, against the infiltrator, against those, is quite beneficial in the voting ballot. And there are many people who it's easier to incite or to rally around you when you fight the other. I hate it, and I don't like it. And I don't say that there was no problem. I think we dealt with it rightly. And I think the best way is not to go against the will by force. I hope we won't do it. There is a way they try to do it, they haven't done it yet. I hope they won't do it again. There's a lot of protests in Israel against it. It's not big numbers, but still, I think it's looked around about, when my party came to power with Menachem Begin, the Prime Minister in 1977, after practically 30 years of Labour government, the first action Begin took, some days after he was there, was to allow Vietnamese refugees on the ships that were wrecked in the sea to come to Israel. It shocked the world. It's not a big number, I don't know how many, 200, 300, 400 people. But this was the right thing to do, because you show that you're not a national hero, which is good, you are a human being as well. The balance between the national and the liberal, or the national and the human part, not just the general cause, but people, human beings. This balance is very important to a sound society, and I think we should do that. Yeah. You decide. No, you're the one that decide. You're in charge of the watch. You're the president, so
David Jinsky, Hillview College. My question is about the mood in Israel. So every Western country is experiencing a rise of right-wing parties, America, Germany, Britain. And Israel does have a strong right-wing community tied to fairly extremist Orthodox Jews. As we saw, I think in 1996, when one of your prime ministers was assassinated for peace talks. I'm not sure. I forgot. 95, right?
December 95, right? Yeah.
So, do you worry that a similar dissatisfaction?
I think November 95.
Right.
November 95.
Do you worry that a similar dissatisfaction with the elite could happen in Israel, and a rise of right-wing moods could come and complicate the peace process?
I mentioned it in a way in answering the question of the refugees. Let me speak first of all about my party. Because the party I was a member of, one of the leaders of for many years, the Likud Party. The Likud Party was established by Menachem Begin, the Prime Minister, before he was Prime Minister, and the title or the name of the party officially is Likud, which means Union Liberal, and then under it says National Liberal Movement. This balance of two big ideas, the national, the liberal, is the genetic code of, who was the genetic code of our party. We are a national movement. The Jewish cause was our cause all my life, like many others. I gave to this huge revolution in Jewish life that we went through in the last 2-3 generations, and I think I'm very proud of it. I spoke with it. But countries that are only, or parties or movements that are only nationalistic, they don't see the individuals, are in danger of becoming very dangerous. I don't want to go to the extremes of Germany and Italy before the war, but when you are when what exists is that the nation, the general public, not the individual, the person, the human being, it's very dangerous. I don't say you can live only with human beings without society, without countries. You have the national part of us, of our identity is important, but it cannot be overwhelmingly taking everything else. So I think that we need to, all of us, and I speak of Israel, of course, try to keep both of them, the national and the liberal, together. And I don't like what my party does, which is abandoning not only what I stand for, but the party used to stand for. I'm proud to have been the justice minister that that initiated and enacted in a way the human rights basic law, the constitutional basic law. Because this was me, it's not against the party, this is what the party stood for, and I did it, and I'm very proud of it. And we're the big defender of the Supreme Court that stands for the minorities and for individuals, not for the majority. Majority doesn't need defense. Minorities need defense, whether it's gays and lesbians, whether it's Arab or Jews, whether it's secular or religious. All of us are both minorities and majority in many aspects of our life. And you need to know, and it goes back to what I said, democracy is not about the rule of law. It's not about the rule of majority. Of course, majority has the right to choose prime minister or government or parliament, but it cannot do all that they want. They cannot decide the majority that I will not vote, or that I cannot speak, or that I cannot pray. So who guards me? The establishment that does it best, if you don't have a society that reject anything to the opposite, is the legal system. And we have a strong legal system, which is under attack now because of its values. And this is a major thing that we are going through. It's not over. There is a tendency that has to do also with the fact that the attempts to get the Israeli-Palestinian conflict resolved have failed when they were done by the left wing, as by the right wing. And people said it doesn't work, so what do you want us to do? So it's not easy to continue. And I will add this to what you said about the world. There is a negative change in the world. I say things that are quite general, but I think are important. That's why I allow myself to say it here. After the Second World War, there was a tendency for decades, maybe 5 decades, 6 decades, of more democracy, more human rights, more rule of law. The communist regimes collapsed. Countries in South America became more democratic. The Arab world might be an exception, but even Africa speaks in democratic values. South Africa, you see things that work in the right way. So these terms, human rights, democracy, and rule of law, were the basis consensus of societies. Now if you say them, you're depicted as leftist. Because now there's a backlash. And people will go back to identity as religion or as nation, and against the legal system. Who are they to decide for us? The majority thinks differently. You see it in the ex-communist bloc in Russia, in Hungary, in Poland. You see it in Turkey. It was a secular republic and goes now in a different way. I don't want to use harsh terms. You saw Trump being elected. I don't compare. Not everything is the same. The idea that we don't need these elites, these people who are learned, these people who know better. Who are they? Why am I not better than them? I'm not. And the fact that the leader, whoever he is, or those who contend on leadership, can talk to you and me on Twitter or through my iPhone. They don't need the intermediaries, the press, the parties, the professionals, the heads of the communities. They talk directly, but they talk very, very shortly, very shallow, very emotional, not to my head, to my guts. And the bad story is that it works. And you see it all over the world. So the attack on the elites, the attack on political correctness, again I speak of the American election. Years ago, somebody who spoke like this would be out of the race in no time. And he was elected not in spite of it, because of this. We drive us wrong. We need these guys. The enemies of the people are the press. Those who ask you questions, who need them? I talk directly to you people. So I think in even the great America, which is a great democracy, 240 years of huge success story, and you see, can I say Brexit? Leaves the elites here. You see it in France. Macron seems to be a very smart man, but the parties who were part of these intermediaries collapsed in France. So there is a problem all over the world. Maybe because of technology, it allows direct link between everybody. I don't want to sound incorrect politically, say the masses, the multitudes, I don't know, but they can be talked to directly without any thinking. Now the world needs more complicated solutions, more complex things. You can't say them in 140 characters in a tweet. But this helps you win election. This is a huge problem a challenge for all democracies. So you see a tendency to go more to the right. I hope it's a pendulum tilting this way and that way. It's not the end of it. And now it's tilting in the wrong way. And I say to myself, and may I say to you, we need to fight back. Not to give up. It's not predetermined that you're going to lose democracy, but it's not a given. Democracy in my country and in this country did not need defense because nobody was against it. You had defense for socialists, for conservatives, in my country for religious, for secular, for settlers. You had groups that needed defense and needed a guard that would help them. Democracy didn't need it. The court never needed it because everybody consented to what they did. Now they are under attack. And if we citizens don't defend them, they will not defend us anymore. So it's a world, global challenge that all of us need to cope with and hopefully win.
We'll make the next question the last one, but if anyone else has any other questions, just keep your hands up and we'll give you a card to come to the office. Come to the reading room, sorry. You pick it. Last question, choose one.
So clearly this is a very complex situation and it would be very arrogant for any of us to assume that we have the solution. But as citizens of many of these countries that you label superpowers, that were very important in the sort of climate and you dealing with the problems, what do we ask of our governments or what do we look for in potential administrations when we're voting to try and do our part to help? So basically, what would your call to action be to people like us?
Everyone from his own government, not in the Israeli-Palestinian story, in general, or only on the Middle East.
Yes.
What I want the British government to do in the Middle East, or what do they want them to do in Britain? What are you asking?
What do we do? Like,
Where regarding Britain or regarding the Middle East?
we're in Britain, America,
Well, I'd say again, I'll continue or go on with what I said earlier. It's not easy to explain to many people, but in the end, we are all equal people. You may be smart or stupid, you may be rich or poor, you all need to be treated equally because this is our basic belief. Without this, I cannot continue. This is the basics. But, and I have my view and your view, and we compete. And I don't think I deserve any better treatment than you because you don't agree with me on something. But I want the people who run the country for me, with my view, for you, your view, to be the best people, the smart people, the more decent people. I would not pick them by lottery and say, you do, because I think I'll get the average. So you need to give not only legitimacy, but to promote excellence, studying, not acting by impulse, thinking long range, and accepting that I elect the people who are the best people in town. Now what we see is the election that the traits, the qualities they need to be elected, President of America, parliamentarian here or there, get very far away from the quality they need to run the country later. If you look, well, I don't know, American senators look very ugly, or who stutter, don't speak, but they may be very smart and they're out of it. And the idea that you need to elect people who give a lot of importance to logic and learning, knowing, and adapting, is the answer. I don't want to go into specific projects, but the world is more complex. It's not easy. It's not something you can run by a simple decision, yes or no. And the legitimacy of the more learned, the more experienced people is very important, because it's not the case today. I see the way people in my country get up the ladder politically. It's not the people you would have chosen to lead, to run the hospital you're going to be operated in, or the factory that produces things for you. You choose the best people. Politics now allows people to choose somebody who is like me, whether he's smart or not, because he's of my race, or my religion, or my neighborhood. Not enough. The idea that you need to have the best people you talk to run the country is not anti-democratic, it's fully democratic, because everybody can do that, but I need the best people there. You know, in the old Greece, Plato spoke of the king philosophy. This is not democratic at all. We have the smartest guy to run the country. I cannot do that. But the opposite of having everybody as stupid or smart, who cares, he's equal, is not good enough. I need to have every view legitimate, but you need to use a lot of wisdom and experience when you make decisions, and thinking and long range, and I hope that you'll see that in leadership. The last thing I want to say is, again, has to do with that, the way I elected. Leadership in my definition, I don't want to start a whole story here, is not to do what the majority tells you to do. This is easy. is to stand up and try to change the view of Israel. Had Menachem Begin asked the people in Israel, should I give up all of Sinai? They would say no. He decided it's right and did it and convinced us to follow. I think that people who are elected now in many countries do the best in polling. What do the people want to hear? I tell them what they want to hear and I get elected. This is not leadership. This is being led by the polls. Leadership means this is right and I'm going to fight for it, to try to convince you. I'll end up with a biblical story that you may or may not know from what Christians we call the Old Testament, we call the Bible. When Moses, who brought the Jews from Egypt to the land of Canaan, which became the land of Israel, was about to die, he was choosing somebody to sit in his place, to stand in his place to lead. And in the end, he chose somebody called Yehoshua, who was there was a group of 12 spies who were sent by Moses to see the land. And 10 came back and said it's a bad land, don't go there. And 2 of the minority who said, no, it's a good land. He chose one of them, because leadership is not being the majority. This is saying the right thing, although the majority is not it. So I need leaders who have values and would stand for them and say things that are controversial and fight for them. I see, maybe Merkel is one like this in Germany, I have to say, when I look around here. I see too many people who are elected and then run the country by going to the polls every day and see what the people want to hear now. And I'm not against the people saying what they think, but if the leadership needs to look ahead 1, 2, 3 steps as much as they can and consider things that are much broader than the actual competence we are fighting now. And this, in other words, we need people who are ready to stand for their values and fight for them. We don't have enough of this leadership. And if we have more of this, whether it's Britain or Israel or America or whatever, it's going to be a better country. So I would say basically this is what we need to keep in mind when we vote. Does this guy or this lady, do they just want to flatter and to be nice to me, or do they have a value that I agree with, of course, and they will fight for it? This is something that is a big shortage in the world today. Yeah, I think we are all done. I think there are no unresolved questions. Everything is resolved right now.
Well, thank you. One last one.